Hey, welcome back to my channel Iraqi Dinar News Update. Here's the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar IQD against the United States dollar. USD has been a subject of continuous debate, policy analysis, and speculation among economists, investors, and everyday Iraqis. As Iraq continues its journey toward economic recovery and modernization, the exchange rate becomes a key indicator of its financial health, monetary stability, and political direction. Understanding the Iraqi dinar's exchange rate involves examining Iraq's monetary policy, oil revenues, foreign exchange reserves, US dollar dynamics, Central Bank of Iraq (CBI) interventions, and global geopolitical factors. This analysis will explain in detail how currency exchange mechanisms influence the USD/IQD rate, why Iraq's exchange rate appears high or undervalued, and what factors could lead to appreciation, depreciation, or revaluation to 1. What is the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar QD? An exchange rate is the price of one currency in terms of another. As of July 2025, exchange rate set by the Central Bank of Iraq, CB is 1 USD per treaty IQD, while the parallel market or black market rate often fluctuates between 1,400 and 1,450 QD per USD. This means that the dinar is heavily depreciated, making the US dollar relatively expensive in Iraq. For everyday people, this affects purchasing power, import prices, and inflation. 2. Understanding currency exchange supply and demand mechanism. Currency exchange rates are influenced by supply and demand for each currency in the market. The value of the IQD versus the USD is determined by how many dinars people want to exchange for dollars, especially for imports, travel savings, or remittances. How many dollars Iraq has available, primarily from oil revenues and foreign reserves held by the central bank. If demand for USD exceeds the supply, the IQD weakens, exchange rate rises. If the CBI increases the supply of USD through auctions or sales, it can stabilize or strengthen the IQD. 3. Why is the IQD exchange rate high? Weak IQD. The term high in this context means you need more IQD to buy 1 USD, which is a sign of a weak dinar. The reasons include a monetary policy and pegged exchange rate system. Iraq operates a managed float system where the CBI pegs the IQD to the USD within a narrow band. Though this brings stability, CBI often sells dollars in daily auctions to maintain a fixed rate and control the money supply. B. Heavy dependence on US dollar. Iraq's economy is dollarized. Most foreign transactions, trade deals, and savings are in USD. The country imports a significant amount of goods, increasing demand for USD. Local trust in the dinar remains low due to historical inflation and war. C. Low local production and high imports because Iraq imports almost everything from food to electronics. Demand for foreign currencies is constant. Iraqis and businesses need dollars to pay international suppliers, weakening the demand for the dinar. D. Political instability and corruption. Uncertainty reduces investor confidence. Corruption, weak rule of law, and militia influence hurt economic reforms, making foreign investors reluctant to hold IQD-denominated assets. E. Dollar smuggling and sanctions. Some Iraqi banks were sanctioned by the US Treasury for helping funnel dollars to sanctioned entities in Iran and Syria. In response, the US halted cash shipments of USD to Iraq in late 2023, reducing dollar liquidity and raising black market rates. 4. How does currency exchange affect the USD/QD rate? A. CBI currency auctions. The central bank holds daily currency auctions where it sells USD to licensed banks and exchange companies to meet the demand for imports. The auction is the main currency exchange mechanism in Iraq. High demand in auctions, higher IQD depreciation. Low auction volume or blocked dollar flow, parallel market rate surge. B. Dollar shortages and exchange rate gaps. When there's a shortage of US dollars because of US restrictions, sanctions, or reduced oil exports, demand in the parallel market surges, raising the unofficial exchange rate. This gap between the official rate and parallel rate causes confusion, inflation, and black market activities. C. US oversight and theft controls. In 2023, the US required all Iraqi dollar transfers to go through SEFA to combat money laundering. This slowed transfers, caused banks to hoard USD, and widened the exchange rate gap. 225 role of oil and foreign exchange reserves. Iraq earns over 90% of its revenue from oil exports. When oil prices are high, Iraq earns more dollars. The CBI can support the dinar by selling dollars in auctions. Foreign reserves increase, strengthening the country's financial credibility. As of 2025, Iraq holds over 67 billion in foreign reserves and over 163 tons of gold, the third largest reserves in the Arab world. Despite this, the dinar remains weak because reserves are mostly held outside Iraq. They aren't yet used for domestic development or private sector growth. Reserves serve more as a monetary buffer, not yet a catalyst for revaluation. Government policies to stabilize the exchange rate. The Iraqi government and CBI have taken several measures to bring the exchange rate under control. The dollarization policies. All local transactions must be in dinars, not dollars. Government salaries and contracts are paid in IQD. Importers are encouraged to use IQD-based letters of credit. Tightening foreign transfers, electronic tracking of dollar transfers to avoid smuggling. Only approved commercial imports get access to auction dollars. Non-compliant banks face sanctions and are banned from auctions. 5 key factors for rate convergence per PM's advisor, July 25, line 1, legal enforcement of IQD-only transactions to crack down on black market exchange shops. 3. Integration of banks into SQIFT and international banking systems. 4. Increase in supply of USD through legitimate channels. 5. Promotion of digital payment systems to limit cash smuggling. Is there a possibility of revaluation RV? There is widespread speculation, especially among foreign investors, about the revaluation. The RV of the Iraqi dinar. RV means a significant upward adjustment in the dinar's values, AG1 USD, FUD, or USD TOSA 50 IQD. This could happen if Iraq fully integrates into global financial systems. Parallel and official rates converge to a stable, market-driven rate. The project to delete the zeros is implemented successfully. The CBI transitions from peg to free floating exchange rate. Iraq joins the IMF's SDR currency basket or shifts to a gold-backed system. However, revaluation requires structural reforms, trust in the banking system, reduced corruption, and geopolitical stability. Until then, Iraq may opt for gradual appreciation, small strengthening of the dinar, rather than a sudden RVT economic consequences of a high exchange rate. Inflation and cost of living. A weak dinar makes imports expensive. Since Iraq imports food, medicine, fuel, and electronics, the population faces higher prices. Inflation hurts wage earners and the poor. Loss of purchasing power. The average Iraqi's dinar savings are worth less in international terms. Travel, studying abroad, or medical treatment becomes unaffordable. Corruption and smuggling. A wide exchange rate gap creates opportunities for black market traders, money launderers, and officials who profit from arbitrage, buying at official rate, selling on black market. Foreign investment deterrent. Investors are wary of currency instability. A volatile exchange rate discourages capital inflows, especially in non-oil sectors. 9. Can a strong dinar help Iraq? Yes, a stronger dinar could improve purchasing power for citizens, reduce import prices and inflation, increase national pride and confidence in the local economy, attract foreign investment, reduce dependence on USD. But a sudden revaluation can also hurt exporters, shrink dollar reserves, and cause macroeconomic shock. Therefore, most economists recommend a gradual strengthening, not a radical shift. The global financial context. A US dollar hegemony as the world reserve currency. The USD dominates global trade. Iraq's oil sales are in dollars, so the dinar's fate is deeply linked to USD performance. Progress and de-dollarization. With the rise of various nations in Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and their push for de-dollarization, Iraq may eventually diversify its currency holdings and trading partners, reducing reliance on USD. Or quantum financial system, QFS, and gold as tier 1 asset. Some theories suggest Iraq will join a new global financial system where gold-backed or asset-backed currencies replace fiat. Iraq's rising gold reserves hint at long-term preparation for such a transition, though it remains speculative. Conclusion. The Iraqi dinar's exchange rate is influenced by a wide range of factors, from domestic monetary policy and oil revenues to geopolitical dynamics and international currency markets. The high exchange rates, i.e., weak dinar, reflects the ongoing challenges Iraq faces in building a modern, transparent, and stable financial system. While a complete currency revaluation is not guaranteed, significant steps are being taken to stabilize the exchange rate, close the gap between official and parallel rates, and improve trust in the IQD. Iraq's future depends not only on its abundant resources, but on its ability to reform institutions, embrace transparency, and manage its exchange rate policy for the benefit of all Iraqis. As Iraq continues to pursue de-dollarization, strengthen reserves, and modernize banking, the exchange rate will gradually reflect these improvements. For now, currency exchange remains a critical battlefield in Iraq's journey towards sovereignty and economic rebirth. We will stop flaring gas in 2029, and we have an electricity shortage due to Iran. Iraqi government, we will stop flaring gas in 2029, and we have an electricity shortage due to Iran Shafaq News Basra Oil Minister Hayyan Abdul Ghaniel. Swat confirmed on Thursday that the ministry is proceeding with a complete cessation of associated gas flaring in Iraq by 2029. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani stated that the country has a 4,000 megawatt energy deficit due to Iran's failure to supply the required quantities agreed upon between Baghdad and Tehran due to US sanctions. This came during the opening of the Central Gas Processing Plant (CPF Gas) in the Al-Faiha oil field in Basra Governorate with a capacity of 130 million standard cubic feet per day. Al-Swad said in a speech via TV, "Today we have completed a large production facility in the field of gas investment, which is the second production line of the Basra Natural Gas Liquefaction Plant, BNGL, indicating that this achievement will add a production capacity estimated at 200 cubic meters per day to the national production of invested associated gas." He pointed out that this achievement will support the gas-fired power plants. Furthermore, investing in these quantities will increase the rate of stopping the burning of gas associated with oil production operations, leading to the cessation of its burning within the next few years. The minister added that gas investment completion rates have increased from 53% to nearly 70% since the government took office. These rates have reduced gas emissions and fulfilled Iraq's commitments to the Paris Climate Conference. Furthermore, increased investment rates have provided fuel for power plants. Al-Sawad continued that the ministry, as previously pledged, will halt gas flaring in all oil fields by mid or late 2029, adding that Iraq is considered a major exporter of natural gas (BNGL) in addition to condensates for many other oil industries. In turn, Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani said in a speech, "One of the most negative indicators of the oil sector was the widespread burning and waste of associated gas, which led to the squandering of a wealth we desperately need." He added that Iraq has now reached a production rate of approximately 1,000 cubic meters per day, which translates to an energy generation capacity of approximately 500 megawatts. Considering it an important achievement in investing in wasted gas wealth, al-Sudani added that Iraq has an energy shortage of approximately $4 in megawatts due to the lack of gas supplies from neighboring Iran as a result of the sanctions imposed by the United States and other reasons. The Prime Minister stressed, "We cannot remain hostage to imported gas. We are facing gas being flared daily and are searching for alternatives to imports. This is a real paradox." Al-Sudani emphasized that the lack of electricity and its availability have become chronic and harmful problems for Iraqi citizens, adding, "We have announced a deadline of the end of 2027 for gas flaring in Iraq to end, and with that, we will reach a 0% rate of gas flaring." For his part, the Deputy Managing Director of Basra Gas Company, Marfa Kazim al-Asadi, explained in a speech delivered during the station's inauguration that the new line will contribute to the production of 1,000 tons of cooking gas per day and 170 million cubic feet of dry gas used to operate power plants. He noted that this achievement would not have been possible without government support and assistance from partners and employees. He explained that the launch of this pipeline will raise the total capacity of Basra's gas liquefaction plants to 400 million cubic feet per day, representing a 40% increase in the company's manufacturing capacity as part of efforts to achieve self-sufficiency and reduce harmful emissions. Al-Sadi noted that the Basra Gas Company has doubled its production since its establishment, from 250 to more than 1,000 million cubic feet per day. Since 2016, the company has succeeded in meeting domestic demand for cooking gas, transforming Iraq from an importer to an exporter. It has also contributed to preventing the release of more than 200 million tons of carbon dioxide